Hello, church family. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to this week's edition of This Past Sunday. Now, this past Sunday, we examined parts of the final two chapters of Paul's second letter to Timothy, chapters 3 and 4. In chapter 3, verses 14 to 17, Paul directed us to ground ourselves with a strong foundation on Scripture. And in chapter 4, Paul reminds us that when we're dealing with good works such as teaching, correcting, or rebuking inside the church, that being for anyone who claims to be a follower of Jesus Christ, that each of these works, teaching, correcting, rebuking, should be done based on the authority of Scripture, with patience and careful instruction that comes through having that strong foundation built on the Word. Now, Paul encourages us to take these tasks very seriously. As he notes, there will be a great number of folks who will claim to be followers of Christ, yet who will disregard sound teaching and will disregard Scripture. Instead, as Paul tells us, they will gather around them teachers who will teach and affirm myths, or we could say delusions. As such, Paul again notes that we must each work on and develop our relationship with Jesus and our knowledge of Scripture so that we will not fall into this trap and be drawn away. Paul is very clear also that this is not an easy task, but as he makes very clear, it's an essential one. And he wants Timothy to know that, the church to know that, and future congregations like us to know that as well. But what about those outside the church? For those who don't recognize the authority of Scripture? Well, Paul's very clear on that as well. He tells us to be genuine, to share our stories in an honest way, to testify to the impact that a relationship with Jesus has had on each of our lives. Remember, much of Paul's ministry was to Gentiles, those who had no foundation in Scripture. But Paul shared his story, and he shared it boldly and honestly without any shame. His life was a testament to the transforming power of a relationship with Jesus. Now, this next Sunday, we are going to finish our study of the letters to Timothy. Our verses for the week will pick up directly where we left off this past Sunday with 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 6 to 8, and we're also going to look at verses 16 to 18. In these verses, Paul provides his final testimony. He testifies regarding enduring hope, of sustained grace, and of the assurance of heaven. As Paul does in these verses, we also will spend some time reflecting on the past several weeks and our journey with Timothy, and hopefully be able to answer the questions, what can we take away from this time that we spent with Timothy and Paul? What lessons can we carry with us as we continue building our foundation on Scripture and in growing in our relationships with Jesus Christ? Well, if you choose to read these verses this week, please take particular note of verse 7. Maybe even highlight it. In verse 7, Paul reflects on his life and his ministry journey. And he says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I've kept the faith. My prayer for each one of us is that we will all be able to confidently make those same statements. We'll talk about this more next Sunday And until we meet, God bless. Bye-bye.